Hello everybody, Neji Nerd here, and I wanted to talk to you guys about a series that honestly is worth your time. I played all three of them, and they were, I was gripped. When I started the first one all the way to the third one, I played pretty much through everything, even the DLC. And the DLC is not canon, so I'm not really going to talk about that. Maybe I'll mention on one part of it for a certain character, but other than that, it's just non-canon. A completely different developer did it and everything. But in the first one, FEAR, you find out it stands for First Encounter Assault Recon, and that is this team that you're a part of, and pretty much you're looking for a man named Paxton Fettel who aims to pretty much take over this corporation. It's called Armacam, and he wants to kill the occupants and take control of it. You eventually do find him and eliminate him, but yeah, that's his main goal. And you play as someone named Point Man. You don't really see his face, and you don't really hear him talk. You see his face in the third game, but you never hear him talk. Through the game, you randomly start seeing this little girl, and through the intel and stuff, you start to find out that her name is Alma, and you know, she was. It's actually pretty tragic. This is where the story is actually really crazy. You end up being scared of her, and you realize through a lot of the game she doesn't really try to hurt you. She follows you, but she kind of resonates with you, and she probably senses some power that you have. And you know, as Point Man, you kind of feel like, you know, you have some type of power, because through the game you have what's called super reflexes, in which time pretty much stops around you, and you can react to enemies and whatnot a lot faster than what they can react to you. But you find out through the hallucinations, Alma has psychic powers, and that she's your mother, and she's the reason for your reflexes, and that Paxton is actually your brother. And you hear that her father, Harlan Wade, actually did experiments on her because of her power, until she started to rebel and she started to kill some people. And then, you know, Armacam and Harlan started to think like, oh, she's a threat to us, we got to put her away. So they put her in sort of like a stasis, or like a coma, where she's like, you know, she's in water and whatnot until she's about 26. But they end up impregnating her. Don't really know the fathers, but she's impregnated, and then they pull the plug when she reaches like 26. She was around 14 or 15 when they started, you know, impregnating her. And it's just crazy how the grandfather actually does this to this girl. Harlan actually eventually releases her because he feels bad. And the moment you see her, you know, her actual true self walking out, it's not a real body. She's been dead for like at least a decade from the first game. But the moment she walks out, you see her, you know, messed up, kind of torn up a bit, and she immediately just decimates him and turns him into juice. That's pretty much what happens. But by the end of the game, Point Man goes ahead, sabotages the facility, detonates it, and as he's pulling away, when you're with, it's a sergeant, I don't remember his name, but your other character that you're with, her name is Jen. You're actually on a helicopter with them, and Jen ends up asking, hey, what happened to Alma? As you see a hallucination of her actually start to climb up on to the helicopter. That ends. Now, I don't have a video of the first game just because I felt like the ending wasn't really, you can read it on Wiki and it sounds a lot better than how they executed the ending of the first game. So I didn't really include it. Now, the second game, you don't play as Point Man anymore. You play as someone named Michael Beckett. And a woman named Aristide claims that him and his team are capable of stopping Alma. With this squad, they end up trying to test on them and make them have psychic ability comparable to Paxton, who was given his ability by Alma, and he was the reason why you had to fight so many clone super soldiers. When you finally break out of getting experimented on and whatnot, you find out that to stop Alma, you have to reach a certain island, use this amplifying device, and basically combat her using that. Not physically, nothing like that, but your main character, is like the best to resonate with Alma besides that Sergeant Keegan. Now through the game with this one, you start to reveal some secrets and whatnot, and Alma starts to physically, I can't say abuse. She starts to assault you. Tries to take control, and you find out through a side character she actually resonates through you because of your psychic ability. And so she never really tries to hurt you. She's just trying to take you in a way. And then you start to get this feeling like, all right, she's trying to take my man goods, because like even through like some of the game when you do, you finally get her off, you do the struggle, and you throw her off, she's like, why? And she starts to appear as a younger, sexy Alma and whatnot to kind of try to, pull you in. It doesn't really work with you. But eventually, when you get closer to the island, Sergeant Keegan was the next candidate. He starts falling into the hallucinations. You try to follow him onto the island, and you never really catch up with him in a way. But you do find a device. Lieutenant Stokes is the only one with you because Morales had to stay back with the vehicle. Keegan, he hallucinated and he was out of there. He pretty much fell to Alma's goods, whatever that means. But Stokes is right next to you. She follows you into there. She straps you into the machine. RSD pops up. She's like, hey, we were going to use you to actually defeat Alma, and yada, yada, yada. Lieutenant Stokes and her get into it. Pretty much, long story short, she ends up shooting Stokes. You don't know if she's alive or dead. They never really revealed it. But you get strapped in, or you're already strapped in. Alma appears, and right when I believe RSD tried to kill you, I think that's why Alma attacked her, I believe. Alma ends up blowing her away, with her psychic powers. RSD uses this, she uses that opportunity to actually close him into the device. And as he closes you into the device, Alma gets closed in with you. She looks at you. She puts on her sexy Alma look. And then this part was pretty mind-blowing. Especially because I feel like in this day and age now, if this game would have came out, this year or whatever, there would be a lot of backlash. But Alma's locked in with you. She starts to take your man goods while making you hallucinate.
Yeah, get her out of here. Get her, baby mama. Let her know. Let her know. Get her, man. Oh, look, she turned wrinkly. Now she mad. Go get her. Oh, wait. No. This ain't the time to get freaky.
Stop for a second. Just to let you know, I did die quite a few times. Keegan was being very annoying. So what I did was I decided to go ahead and cut all my deaths because it was pointless and pretty much get to the end of this. Just wanted you to know, just so that, maybe you're up there like, hey, what happened with this little cut right here? That's all. Continue.
Did I get her? All right, I guess I didn't. Oh, she pregnant. She got me. She took my butt, man.
Man, pretty crazy stuff, right? Yeah. After that pretty much happened, this is where we take on Fear 3. Fear 3 takes place 9 months after. So you can imagine, even though Alma looked about 5 or 6 months pregnant right after raping Beckett, she's having a baby now. With that being said, you barely see her in this game. What really happens is, as contractions go on through the game, people start hallucinating, crazy things start happening. They actually cause a lot of the civilians to go crazy. They attack you, yada yada yada. The contractions make like air waves blow to the city, and the roads are caving in, buses, cars blowing up. You get the picture of what these contractions are doing. In this game, it's co-op. One person can play as Paxton, one person can play as Point Man. I did not go through and play the game a second time as Paxton, just because I was like, it plays pretty similar. You possess people, you have like, psychic bursts of air that you shoot at the people. That was pretty much it. There's 2 endings, but we'll get to that. So they have to work together. They're trying to get to Alma because stuff is happening. Paxton actually wants the baby to be born. He wants the baby to be born. He wants to see his mother again. He wants the brothers to continue to work together. He wants to be a happy family and continue to take revenge. Point Man, on the other hand, he understands what his mom is. He understands that she's dangerous. And in this game, you see hallucinations of the 2 brothers back when they were being experimented on, when Harlan Wade was actually doing a lot of experiments on the brothers. And Point Man was kind of left alone because he didn't show any abilities of psychic powers. But Paxton was continuously experimented on. And as this happened, Harlan actually started pushing the brothers away. They were left in this room that kind of looked like a psychic or psycho room. You find out later in the game that through an invisible glass, Harlan and his scientists were able to just watch the 2 brothers, how they reacted. And every time they got close, Harlan would come in, experiment on Paxton, or he would take one of their toys, hide it, make a scene, try to frame the other brother, basically try to keep them apart, and I guess to kind of grow their abilities. Just to let you know, there are 2 endings. I only have Point Man's ending. If you want to see Paxton's ending, you could go ahead and go online and see it. But basically what you're about to see is, if Point Man wins, he extracts the baby, Alma dies and fades away, he walks away with it. If Paxton wins, he possesses the Point Man, extracts the baby somehow, and then he looks down at Alma, sits the baby to the side, starts devouring her, like in the most cannibal way ever. Even though she's, pretty much a spirit. Well, I guess he is too. But the blood and stuff that happened and the gust everywhere, it was very weird. You could go check it out. But right now I have the Point Man ending, and I'll show you that right now. Alma now, or the brothers join their mother at last. Oh. Will the family survive, or can there be only one favorite son?
The past is no longer in our way. It's happening. Let's go to her. This is something we must see. I suggest again that you consider all options, brother. We can become unstoppable. But to consume the body, join me. What are you doing? This family never meant anything to you. Are you going to continue to follow the orders of that woman, or stay true to your own blood? I've been waiting for this moment, brother. Once before, and I promise you, it won't be so easy the second time.
Wow. Alma's choice has been made.
had to be like this, brother. We could have been like gods.
Things seem normal, but I'm not sure I know what that means anymore. I just have to believe you completed your mission. I know it was difficult, but the survivors of this ordeal owe you their lives. I know I do.
And that's pretty much it. It's kind of my gist of the series, and I mean I could give a rating, but I do recommend you playing. I left out a lot of stuff on purpose so that if you ever decide to play the series, you can still enjoy it. I left out a lot, I promise. I pretty much just showed the 2 and 3 ending, pretty much for you as far as like cinematics and whatnot. As far as my rating with the game, I probably would give the game, and I'm talking series as a whole. I'm not going individual. So here's what I'm going to do. Usually, if I have nothing to say about a movie or a game or anything of the sort, I will give it a 10 out of 10. The way I ding stuff is if I find something wrong with it, depending on how severe it is to me, I'll ding it by either half a point or an entire point if it's like just if it's such a headache that I just can't deal with it, right? So with this series, what I really have to complain about, well, the first one was easily the longest of all three. It was very long, very, very long. It was crazy long. The other ones were pretty short, so I could ding it on that. I'd say like that's like half a point taken. What's next? I would ding it on how Beckett died. He had a whole game dedicated to him, and then pretty much in Fear 3, you see him, possess him, find out about him, kill him, and that's pretty much it. Beckett has nothing else to do with anything at all, and it's just silly. Other than that, what else I have to say about it? How Alma actually dies at the end of Fear 3. She's like the centerpiece, and I get it. It's kind of like the end of a trilogy, and the baby is kind of signifying like a different route. But honestly, like through the games, yeah, you kind of feared Alma, but at the same time, once you find out her backstory and stuff, you start to feel bad for her. In a way, you kind of agree with Paxton. You kind of want her to get revenge. You just feel bad. You wish she could live her own life. You wish she wasn't like pretty much abused and used throughout her entire childhood. You feel bad. But the way she just fades away in the ending I saw was just ridiculous. And then the way Paxton cannibalizes her, and I believe the reasoning was just to get more of her psychic power. I believe that was it. I don't know. And I don't think it's been confirmed which ending is canon. But pretty much with those dings, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. So do with that what you will, but I would say, even though I've shared this much, it is definitely still worth a good, it's worth your time, I promise you. And with that being said, I'm pretty much done. I love this series, and if you decide to play it, I hope you will too. Neji Nerd signing off. Have a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is for you, and take care.